I heard from my professor friend again, and I just wanted to, yeah, he sent it to my P.O. box right there. That was awful sweet of him. And he sent me $50. Wow, how generous. Dear Gail, thank you again for reading my last letter on air and answering my question. I appreciate your insight. I wanted to drop you this note to wish you a happy Mother's Day or belated Mother's Day if this arrives late. I'm enclosing some more money, and I was hoping you'd take yourself out for a nice meal somewhere to celebrate. Feel free to check with your men, but I think it'd be okay for you to treat yourself on me. You deserve it. If I lived closer, I'd also give you a big hug to celebrate. And then he had a little smiley face. I'll let you see it. See? Right there, see that? Like last time, if you could mention receiving this letter in one of your videos to let me know you got it, I'd appreciate it. You can feel free to read it on air again if you want to and think it will provide context. Otherwise, I think I'll leave it at that for now and will try not to pester you for a while. Be well, my friend. With much love, blessings and light, Professor. He's like a stem cell scientist, so he teaches science, I think, at a university. Well, thank you. That's very generous. I appreciate you wanting me to eat out at a restaurant, but I'm not much of a restaurant person, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be moving in about 6 months. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put this into savings, into my savings account for moving. That will you might make my move easier. This could be an extra $50 that I can spend so that I don't have to lift heavy furniture going down three flights of stairs. So I'm going to put this into savings. I think that's what my men would want me to do. I predict that because of the horrible inflation that the United States is suffering right now, I predict that probably in 6 months, my rent is probably going to go up $75 a month, which is going to be out of my affordable range. And I'm going to need to move. And so I've already written my men to see if we can come up with a contingency plan to where I can move and have more affordable living arrangements. So I'm going to put this in savings. Thank you so much. Jesus would love it if I put this into savings. Yeah. And I'm not supposed to spend any money other than for food and bills without their permission first. I'm sure Jesus will not object to me putting that into savings. I just bought $60 worth of laundry quarters, so yeah, that'll help me. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I do believe Zach is working on my website right now, but I've been making a lot of executive orders lately. To help our country as U.S. president. And Lori McBride would love to make me homeless so that I cannot be your president. And we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen. She's been hiking up my rent. In the past 2 years, it's gone up $150 a month. And that's a lot. And she knows that I'm on a limited income. And basically, none of my celebrity men are rich right now. After the Cumstar incident, they basically lost all their property, and their clones are impersonating them and have basically stolen their identity. And so they're basically down to bare bones. And the only safe place for them to live is Church of Gail Spaceship number 3. But from what I understand, I and all of my cabinet, we govern the United States voluntarily. We don't get paid, except my men are getting free room and board at Church of Gail. They have to be there because if not, Lori will attack them. She drops bombs and everything. I mean, I do like daily presidential briefings for my $10 and up Patreon supporters get to hear them, and then my men put snippets of that on Gabriel Chana Fox News 00 on cable, and basically, if I'm not the president, then Lori McBride is the president. That's this current state of the world. Yeah. Because Biden just basically is Lori's cuck. or he's the cuck, or whoever he perceives could get him in trouble if he doesn't do as he's told. And right now, he perceives that that person is me. But if Lori ever managed to trounce me, he would do her bidding without hesitation. He's not his own person. A lot of people are aware of that. Anyways, thank you so much for that. I'll have a link to my presidential page underneath this video and to my website. The website seems to be on and off a lot lately. I do sense that Zach is working on the website. So you'll need to be patient with it. And but basically, I have revamped my voting laws, requiring everybody to be scanned for genetic code. Because of cloning technology, we cannot rely on signatures or name ID to be an accurate indicator of whether a person's presenting their true identity. So I've updated my voting laws. The way I've done the voting laws, you can vote online, in person, by mail. Oh, she's making my eye that she's putting stuff in the air, dropping bombs like crazy. And absentee. The point is we have to identify you by code, and then your vote is entered into a federal database. And that way people can't vote more than once, let's say by moving from state to state. And no illegals can vote, and no Lori McBride Jesuit can vote. Lori McBride Jesuit is considered a terrorist, and I have made Zach Knight the big tech administrator, because we have taken over Microsoft, Apple, and Google as terrorist organizations. You might say, yeah, because the computer problem that I was having this past week, where I almost lost my computer, part of that, I believe, was because of malware sent to my computer by Microsoft. Not completely. Lori's also been causing a lot of power failures in the past year, and it has messed up my hard drive. So anyways, thank you so much for that. But I've passed some very important laws in the past week, and I've been updating them at my website. So I'll have a link to those to my presidential page where I talk about them, and also I'll have a link to the archive of my latest blog posts underneath this video. And you can see the latest laws that I've written. We got to get our country back on a sound economic footing. We've got to stop this insanity with all these pandemics that Lori McBride is orchestrating. And we've got to make it so Lori McBride can't rig elections. Yeah, she's good at all three. And so I've passed some very strong measures to deal with that. Yeah, and you can read it at my website. Anyways, yeah, we can't let Lori McBride be the president. That would be like having a psychopath in charge of the world. It's either me or her. That's the way it stands. And I'm going to eventually, I've got 3 more years left in my term, because basically my term started when Biden's term started. I actually won the 2016 election with Trump, but I didn't exercise my office because I gave it back to Trump when we determined he was alive, when we found out all those people that we thought died in this Trump rally on November the 4th, 2016 were actually alive. And so I gave Trump back the presidency. Unfortunately, for most of Trump's term, Melania Trump, not Donald, was the president. And that's why he was such a war hawk and was catering to the military-industrial complex, which I hated about him, about his presidency. And anyways, my political position is mostly Constitution, then Libertarian, then Green. I'm kind of like a blend between socialist and libertarian. I am a big believer in freedom for my people, but I also like to take care of my people. And that's where the socialist in me comes in. So I'm not really a Democrat or Republican. I'm an independent. With my new voting laws, I've made it so that you can vote online. Isn't that cool? And in fact, that's how I'm going to vote from now on, is online. You may say, but that's not a secure election. The way I've got it set up, it's going to be the most secure election this country's ever had. The possibilities for voter fraud is going to be very low because we took over Microsoft, Google, and Apple. And we're going to be able to secure the online and make sure. You might say, what do you think about this ransomware attack that just happened, and they blame it on Russia? That doesn't sound right. Vladimir Putin is my Secretary of Defense, and I'm not going to change that. Lori McBride is trying to make it appear like I'm this crazy lady and I'm not the president, but I am the president. 0-0 on cable, folks. It's all there. 0-0 on cable, and I hear you can get that if you don't live in Florida. They don't air it here to protect me. They talk about me there all the time. My cabinet is very diverse. I've got Stephanie Kelton as my chief economic advisor, Bernie Sanders, Health and Human Services. Ben Carson is in charge of HUD, and he's also Secretary of Education. Rand Paul is my Secretary of State. Tulsi Gabbard was my VP, but we had to take her out for treason. Then we've got Ron Paul, Secretary of the Treasury. I've got Jesse Ventura, Office of Management and Budget. So a very diverse cabinet. I've got some Russians in charge of the CIA and the FBI. Sergey, I've got Rule 13. Sergey, Lori's brain control is so bad. But Vladimir Putin's my Secretary of Defense, okay? I forget who all my deputies are. I've got Adolf Hitler, Rule 13. Yes, Satan resurrected Adolf Hitler from hell. Just go to my website. It's all there. Look at the web page about Satan being resurrected. You may say, do you really believe this all happened? Your men are trolling you? I understand that this is hard to believe for some people out there. But yeah, they're not trolling me. The reason Satan deals with me, folks, is because I'm Jesus Christ's favorite. I am going to play a significant role in his downfall, and he knows it. He would love for you all to believe I'm this crazy lady and that he doesn't exist and that Lori McBride is doesn't have Antichrist powers. If you go to my Patreon and you subscribe for $10 and up, I go deep into theology. I do like a presidential briefing every day to give my cabinet ideas about what I want them to be doing. You may say, you didn't mention all the rest of your cabinet. I'm going off the top of my head, but it's a blend between libertarian, green, and constitution. I do have a lot of conservatives there. I've got Dan Bongino. He's in charge of Homeland Security. I have, I know I'm going to forget somebody because I got it's a typical presidential cabinet. And then I created positions for Zach Knight. He's the big tech administrator because we took over Google, Microsoft, and Apple. And that's because they've been working with Lori McBride. And I just gave a position to Judge Terrance Jenkins. He's the genetic voting code administrator. In other words, he's going to make sure my new laws where people vote by their genetic code is enforced. This is some of the most brilliant law I've ever written. It's going to totally revamp our voting system and make it very fair and just. Yeah. No more rigged elections. Basically, the U.S. elections have been pretty much rigged since 2018 forward. Actually, even before then. I would say most U.S. elections, up until this year, have been about maybe 70% accurate, 30% fraud, okay? This year, I think the fraud could be as high as 50% of the votes. You say, really? Yeah. We're dealing with cloning technology. We're dealing with the fact that Lori McBride had control of Google, Apple, Microsoft. Possibilities are endless. And she was very very obvious about her. Before, the Jesuits were better at covering up the rigging. This year, she was very obvious and flagrant, to the point where a lot of the conservatives got really, really angry. Anyways, the good and bad news is, because the rigging was so obvious, the country decided they'd had it and they were ready to make me the president for real. And I sense the mood of the country, and I have been very busy exercising my role. So thank you so much. I'm going to have to move, though, so I can stay your president, because I can't afford to stay here. And if I lose my housing and I don't have a computer, how can I be president, right? So yeah. But I am the author of Conspiracy Law. I've been writing it since 2004. And I believe that that's the law that we need right now. So, yeah. I and my cabinet, we do not get paid for what we do. This is all volunteer work on our part. We're doing it because of pure humanitarian motives. Let me see, who else is there? I probably forgot somebody, but just go to my webpage, Independent Gail Schuler for U.S. President, and it's all there, okay? All of my policies. I took a political test. I came out Constitution, Libertarian, and Green. And all of my policies are on the pages that I have underneath this video. And thank you so much. That's going to help me with moving expenses, which will help me to remain your president. Obviously, I need to be able to have a place to live. And yeah, Lori McBride is trying to make me homeless. And she is willing to put the whole world into an economic depression if that's what she has to do to accomplish her objective. Yeah. She and Satan are buddy-buddy right now. And she's got control of the news media. And I've got some really tough law that I'm implementing to deal with Lori McBride's baloney factory. And I'm going, as long as you can keep me so that I'm able to have access to a computer, so that I'm able to keep up my website, and I have housing, and, basically food and bills and my needs met, I can remain your president and protect you from Lori McBride. And that is my objective. And my goal is to do this permanently. I think that's what Jesus wants. I'm doing the job Jesus wants. Basically, I have set up a constitutional monarchy in the United States. I have not made it official yet. I have a lot of respect for the U.S. Constitution, but there are some weaknesses in there, which the Jesuits have been exploiting. And I think my law, I've already declared that my law is the supreme law of the land. And yeah. Well, we already have a constitutional monarchy with me as the president, because I was your empress starting 2014 forward. But I'm going to make it official. You say, how's that going to work? We have elections like every 4 years. Well, how I'm going to handle it is I want the American people to have a voice, and I want them to be able to vote for their leadership. And they actually did vote me in, by the way. I won with a landslide. But what I do is, when I choose my cabinet, I have very high emotional IQ. In fact, I've got the highest emotional IQ on the planet. I try to choose people that reflect the heart of the people, okay? I listen to all sides. I'm very open-minded. And that's why I have such a diverse cabinet. I've got progressives in there. I've got conservatives. I've got libertarians. I've got Greens. What I do is I pick the aspects of each position that I agree with, and then try to put somebody in my cabinet that reflects my views on the matter for that particular position, like I do on a national health care plan. So I have Bernie Sanders, who feels like I do. I agree with a lot of Bernie Sanders' economic policies. Not all of them. But then I have Ron Paul in there to balance him out. Like, I do want a national health care plan, and I'm a bit of a socialist, but I'm also a bit of a libertarian, which means I don't want the small businesses to all die. I don't want there to be a monopoly in big business or in big tech. So that's why we've taken over Microsoft, Google, and Apple. And it's kind of complicated, but I've thoroughly thought through my positions, and I'm not a dumb person. Anyways, check my website underneath this video. I have a vision for the economy, where I want it to go. I've got a vision for healthcare. I've got a vision for infrastructure. I've got a plan to deal with homelessness. I've got a plan to deal with this Lori McBride pandemic craziness, which she's created. Yeah, I've got, just read all the links. I've got a plan for foreign policy. Basically, Russia and I are in a very strong alliance. And Lori McBride is trying to, she believes in the divide and conquer strategy. She's trying to separate me and Russia so we can't have an alliance. I will have none of that stuff. I've got Vladimir Putin, Secretary of Defense. I've got 2 top Russians from Vladimir Putin's government in my cabinet. One is in charge of the CIA, I believe it is. It's a national intelligence director. I've got somebody as a Deputy Secretary of Defense. I'm not playing Lori's games. Russia is not our enemy. They never have been. Lori needs for them to be our enemy so she can maintain her monopoly over the world. And she doesn't give a flip about the poor people. She just pretends like she cares. She is the reason we've got such a super rich, we've got the rich-poor divide in our world right now. She belongs to the super rich elite, and she thinks she's so superior because of it. And she looks down on people like me and you, who are working class people. She despises you. She will only honor you if you worship her. So, you know, I'm not putting up with her garbage. And I will remain the president because that's what I have to do to make sure that Satan and Lori McBride do not destroy planet Earth. And then she's got that monstrosity of a cum star out there, which could literally blow up planet Earth. So I've also got military. I've got it all thought out. Yeah. I am also half Catherine the Great and half King David. So my genetic profile is composed of great leadership. Basically, Jesus is using me to save the world from Satan at this time. And I will do my job. Yep. I cannot sit back. It's kind of like the Holocaust, okay? If I know I have it in my power to prevent the Holocaust and I don't do it, I have to be able to respect myself when I look at myself in the mirror. And that's how I feel about being president. I have the ability right now to prevent a Holocaust, to prevent Earth from being literally demolished by this monster called Lori McBride. So I will be the leader that Jesus needs me to be at this time. Because if not, your leader will be Lori McBride, who is BFF with Satan. If those of you who think Satan is a nice person, you're not very bright. He almost killed everybody on the planet on December 4th, 2020. Go check out my website on the Satan visit. Yeah. You say, well, Satan doesn't exist. You're not very bright. You must be one of those dumb people who believe in evolution. If you think Satan doesn't exist, you're not too smart. Anyways, I'm not going to waste my time arguing with dum-dums. I'm just letting you know that I plan on being your president. Because if not, then Lori McBride is going to be your president. Amen.